Welcome back to a new video. So in this workout, I am planning on doing some power snatching, some power clean, plus potentially push press. We'll see how the wrist and everything, if it's feeling super tight, maybe just power cleans, because then I want to make sure that nothing's aggravated with that. To do some snatch balances and potentially some rack jerks. So a lot of that. The one thing I want to for sure do is the snatch balances, and then everything else I do will be a bonus. After the work from the floor and from the rack, I'll probably do some clean pulls after, and I'm not sure if I'll do the slow eccentrics. I think I'll probably do those again if I end up doing pulls, which is kind of the plan since I squatted yesterday, do pulls today, and then kind of alternate days with that, ideally until I get into the rhythm of squatting every other day, doing pulls every other day, and then get like 3 or 4 days of squatting a week, 3 or 4 days of pulls a week, depending on probably bias squats, obviously, since that's more important than pulls, and probably do 4 days of squats, potential at the most, and then 3 days of pulls, probably at the most, if I'm going every other day. But the pulls will be clean pulls when I do them, and with the slow eccentrics, most likely the snatch balances. I don't want to put a strict number of what I want to get to. I just want to do them well and make sure the positions are feeling good with them. As far as the first two movements, the power snatches and the power cleans, I'm going to do them without straps. The power snatches, obviously the cleans, and probably go up to only like 80 in the power snatch, and mostly use it as just technical practice. So I don't want to go very heavy in that. And the same thing with the power clean push press. Use it as kind of a technical practice as a warm-up for the lifts from the rack. So not a ton of weightlifting volume, I guess classic weightlifting volume today, but more so rack stuff with snatch balances and potentially also the rack jerks. But now that I've talked about it a couple times through in this intro, definitely some clean pulls at the end and maybe some barbell rows or something like that. So quite a few exercises that theoretically could be planned. The main thing is for sure getting some good snatch balance work then, and then seeing what else I can get in. But we'll power snatch 80, we'll power clean, and probably end up push pressing like 100, maybe 110. I think I'd want to push the push press a little bit heavier, just because shoulders are generally a weakness and something that will be always kind of good to do a little bit more of. Power snatch is just kind of practicing the movement and trying to make sure that I'm doing everything right, just to get more practice at that, and just trying to be aggressive. Potentially, could do 90 with that. It just depends on if 80 is like super easy, then I could jump up to that. But probably 80 is going to be the, I guess, the minimum / the maximum. And then the between 100 and 110 for the power clean and push press. For snatch balances, it kind of just depends on how they're feeling. I would say at the minimum 110, and then hopefully be able to do a little bit more than that. Then rack jerks are kind of a big wild card. I would say if I could do like 130, like I did with the block clean and jerk yesterday, I'd be pretty happy with that, just to get some more practice in it, not necessarily to go to a super maximum. And then pulls are just whatever I feel like doing. I think the snatch pulls I did 110 for the 3 sets of 3, the slow eccentrics, and that was like a 90-ish% lift relative to my full snatch. So with clean pulls, probably could do it like between 140 and 150. I'm not going to go super heavy those if I'm doing the slow eccentrics as well. And then maybe some rows at the end, but we'll see. I feel like if I get to all of that I talked about, and it goes to how I'm envisioning, and I get to pulls and I get those done, I don't think I'll need to do too much work after that. I could also throw in some biceps and triceps, since I have a feeling that I'm not going to feel great tomorrow based on the session today and based on how last week went. Now, some of that, was it from the snatch balances or from doing the 3x2 front squats? And I think I did some pulls as well. So like I did quite a bit of work in this kind of session I did last week. But I think the snatch balances are probably more systemically fatiguing than they are for other people. Actually, I would say probably pretty close to the like neurological systemic fatigue as like a front squat would, just because of the amount of effort it takes to do any weight with them and just the amount of focus. So maybe that will be the fatigue that will cause me to not want to lift too hard tomorrow, or maybe because I'm not doing the front squats, then I'll feel fine for tomorrow. So I'll be kind of curious with how that works, but I feel good from yesterday. You know, I'm just normal sore. My legs are like a good sore from the squats, and nothing really hurts. So we'll see how everything's feeling, how everything's moving and grooving. But we'll get this work done. It's probably the last warm day of this week. I think the low today is 22 degrees, and right now it's like 60, so it's obviously fine in here. But I think it's going to get really, relatively, 40 degrees difference. It's going to get really cold from where it was today for the rest of the week. So I'll probably be at the gym the rest of the week. Maybe not tomorrow, but I guess we'll have to see because it's supposed to storm tomorrow. It hasn't rained much today, so I actually was contemplating going to the gym, but decided to come out here just because I got the space, so take advantage of it. But I'll talk to you at the end of the video. So hopefully I at least snatch balance well, and then everything else I do on top of that will be a bonus. But talk to you all at the end of the video. right after that snatch balance, I knew what the title of this video is going to be. So you can let me know if that counts or not down below. But the 135 would have matched my best snatch balance ever, and the 137 I did would be the best, and also would tie the most I've done in any, I guess, snatch exercise. I've done 137 from the high blocks, and that was previously the best that I had done. And my best overhead squat was after doing a 135 block snatch, and I did an overhead squat after that somehow. So though it's obviously 137 to get it down and basically up is certainly much more than I was expecting. As I was moving through the weights, I was like, I'm gonna take a crack at 135 and see what happens. And when I did the first attempt, I kind of just ran out of energy in the bottom. It's a weird feeling, because most of the time when you do a snatch, you're never like, I'm gassed at the bottom of the snatch. You just kind of stand it up, even if it's a PR attempt for the most part. But down there, because the control on the way down was so difficult, I was at the bottom, and I was actually able to get it into a position to start to squat up. But I was just so tired that as soon as I tried to do that, it just came forward. And the only thing that would have happened if I really kind of gave it I don't want to say more effort. Like, I felt like I obviously tried pretty hard, but if I was like life or death, like I have to try to do it, it just would have, continued forward, and it just would have been a miss anyway. And I obviously don't have a ton of space, but I'm quite geeked about that. Besides the snatch balance, so I did quite a bit more snatch work than I had planned. The first 80 is definitely, I would say that's a definition of a shed miss, in the sense that I definitely, like, as I caught it, I was like, I have to walk forward. And I was like, no. And I just dropped it. And it's 80 kilos. So I'm not like thinking that, it's not like a PR attempt or something that I'm worried about. But I was able to come back and make it a couple times. Went up to 90, made that a couple times. Then tried 100. And the miss was definitely like me trying to power it too hard. And what I mean by that is I was just trying to get under it too fast to do a power. So I just went early and made it a bad technical lift, which left it out in front. When I did the second attempt, that was a better one, in the sense that I got it back more, of course, and took a better attempt at trying to power it, and it just pushed me all the way down, which is ideal. Like, if you miss a power, it should just be a full snatch if you do it correctly. So obviously the 100 is kind of annoying that I missed, but it is what it is. It's more than I thought I was going to feel good to do today, and doing it without straps too makes a difference. My best power snatch with straps, I believe, is 110. And that's when I was going really hard for several months of doing power snatch plus snatch. And I was just doing all my snatches with straps. And I think for power snatches, it makes a difference with straps. For full snatches, I think it does help a little bit. But for powers, I think it has I don't want to say a disproportionate effect, but it has more of an effect, because you can be more aggressive when you have straps on. At least I feel like I can. So obviously doing them without straps is going to have better carryover to the actual snatch, since in a competition I'm not going to have straps on. So I think it's better practice for that, to practice that aggression. A lot of like the first 80, I felt like the issue is the external rotation in my left arm. It doesn't hurt like this, it doesn't really hurt. It's a little bit sore, but same with my right arm's a little bit sore. But I think it's just because I've had that press out issue and kind of had some pain in there. I think it's just slower and weaker. So I just have to keep working on the mobility and the strength of the external rotation, because it's just slower on that side. Because if I tend to miss, it tends to be twisted that way, because it's just not going all the way back at the same speed as the other ones. That's not really noticeable with light weights, because it's going to be strong enough to do it. But once it gets to heavier loads, and I think it might just be a permanent thing, to where if I miss, I just kind of miss like that. It's always something you can improve upon. But happy with the snatches overall, especially doing the powers pretty easy with 90, and then feeling good enough to try 100 from the floor, which yesterday I did the power plus full from the blocks, but the blocks make everything easier for snatching. For the push presses, oh yeah, that was the other fantastic part of, I completely forgot about those. Push presses went fantastic. They were feeling super easy. Even 60 kilos didn't bother me too much, but it's definitely I can't really catch it with a full grip in the full clean, kind of similar how I would do with other lifts. I kind of have it in my fingertips, But with 60 kilos, I have it with 3 fingers. And then with the other, once I have a heavier weight, I have it with 4. So it just makes the readjustment a little bit easier. With 60, I kind of have to pop it off and re-catch it to get it into a full grip. So it didn't, nothing actually in my forearm or anything bothered me today with any of the lifts, which is interesting with how heavy I went on everything. But the 115 I did, as I was moving, the reason I started with 65 with the 95 was like, I'm going to jump to 115. I was pretty confident that I'd be able to do it. I thought it would feel really difficult. I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't. So I had a lot of confidence to try the 120. And honestly, the 120 felt good. I pushed it out in front, which tells me that, that's the max for now. But much like with the snatch balances, it's not so much about increasing the 1 rep max, even though it would be nice to do, of course. But I want to make that 120, just like with the snatch balance, make 130 like a weight that's routine, because that's going to have the biggest carryover if I'm able to routinely hit a heavier weight and not just hit a one-off maximum weight on a random day. You want to have that consistency as well. So with push presses, getting back to 120 and having that be a consistent number means I'll start taking cracks at 125, 130, because my PR is still, I think, 130 in the push press. So I definitely want to get that closer to 140 if possible, especially doing a power clean prior to it. I think that is just a good correlation lift. Not necessarily that it's going to carry over to the other lifts, but like if I'm doing a power clean and push press with say 135, that's going to mean that like training's going really well. Not obviously there yet, but if I'm getting back to doing 130 and like making that look how 120 looked, then obviously that's going to again correlate really well to like I'm just generally like in a really strong state. But so the snatch balances went fantastic. The 137, which for my personal record keeping, I'm going to count as the my lifetime PR with that, since it was 137 or 300 pounds. One reason to always do 137, not 136, is it makes it for sure. I think it's like 301 in pounds. But after that, but just some rack jerks. It was weird. They felt really good. Like 60 and 100 felt really good as far as the positions and the front rack and everything, and just the technique. 130 felt a little bit heavy, and I kind of knew like, all right, that's where I'm kind of gassed overhead, because I've done quite a bit of work today at that point. But 130 was kind of like I definitely was confident I was going to be able to get to and do a rep at, and I'm fine with that. And then as you saw the pulls, I only did 2 sets of 3. Just because I was just kind of tired at that point, and I didn't do a true like full slow eccentric like I did with the snatch pulls. I did kind of like an in-between thing, and that's just because as I did a slow eccentric with 130, and as I was doing it, I was like, this is probably not good to do multiple times or like frequently during the week because it's just going to be fatiguing. So I have to keep that in mind. And probably do the slow eccentric, obviously do more than one day of pulling, as I did more pulls today. But to maybe only have 1 day of the slow eccentrics, since that's going to break down a lot more muscle and just make you more sore. I'm thinking tomorrow, because I'm probably going to be pretty tired, I think that's going to be a good like accessory day, and I want to get some more glute ham raises. I might honestly go to the gym just to do more like bodybuilding stuff. It kind of really depends. I might do like a muscle snatch, and a lot of it will depend when I go there and how sore I am. I have a feeling I'm going to be pretty just tired from that, but you never know. Like I didn't think I was going to lift that great today. I was hopeful, but that's kind of the mindset I have most days, is like unless I feel really bad, I'm usually pretty optimistic about a training session. So it's not something that I'm like I come in like I'm a little sore. I'm probably going to lift like complete crap, and you kind of know the difference of like you feel pretty normal versus like you walk in, you're like the bar feels heavy today. The bar feels weird. It feels larger in diameter. Everything hurts. Everything. I just you don't want to do a squat. It's you kind of have those feelings on different days. But today it was like I was sore, but I was working through it, and it's a good feeling to have. So the pulls, I did them at 150. Those feel fine. They're always easy to do. But go and eat some food and relax. But kind of geeked about the session. Definitely I'm tired now, but that kind of makes sense. And just go and make sure I eat enough. I think that's probably one thing that's been helping, is I'm really hammering the food at night, because I don't do the best job of eating enough food, which is why my weight will sometimes fluctuate pretty crazily, especially if I get sick or something. It tends to I tend to lose just a couple pounds because I just stop eating. But what did I weighed myself before I came out here. I was 235, and that was after My weight when I get back from school is usually pretty similar to my weight in the morning because I'm usually a little bit dehydrated when I get back from work. I'm usually not like hyper hydrated just because I've been working all day and talking and whatnot. So usually lose a bit of fluid, but I had been like 234, 235, so I'm kind of floating around that range, and it just might be the weight that I kind of stick at. Like I'm not trying to necessarily gain weight. I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to eat a lot at night and make sure that I'm kind of hitting protein and stuff. And obviously, it's something that's good to monitor. Make sure I'm not 245 rent one day and then be upset if wow, my squats went well for a month, and I realize that I'm 10 pounds fatter or something. But I feel like I'm getting stronger. I'm not, the body weight isn't changing too much. So hopefully that just means I'm adding a bit muscle and not gaining any more fat, I suppose. But I might be losing a little bit if that means I'm getting a little muscle and not getting any weight. But getting too rambly. I need to go in and eat, get these weights stripped off, and yeah, I'm just kind of happy about it. Like it's an interesting feeling because I'm not like super energetic after training, but that's usually when I've recorded commentaries is like after training. That's why I always sound kind of probably tired, where I don't like have like the crazy YouTuber energy. It's like I just obviously did a bunch of exercises. I'm tired. I worked all day. I don't have that crazy energy, and it would just be fake if I had it. But very satisfied with today, and hopefully I just keep up the momentum later in the week. But that's going to be it for this video. Apologize for the long conclusion, but hey, maybe that's just the shed style, and then the gym style will just be me talking over the lifts, since it's usually pretty difficult to talk before, like in this situation with the mic and whatnot, and then go after. I feel like that's just might be too much work. Maybe in the summer, but in the summer I have time for all things, even a master's program, which I'll be starting at least 2 classes in the summer, so won't be too bad. But I'll at least have something to do besides lifting and videos and stuff. But anywho, I've rambled on long enough. I'll talk to you all in the next video. I hope you have a great day. Peace.